Welcome back to the What's the Noise review cast. Today we'll be reviewing Tyler, the Creator, and his Flower Boy album. This is our first ever album review. I hope you're excited. And so we're
Oh shit, I zoned out.
all right. So we're gonna start off by talking kind of what's the noise around this album, why we chose to do this album, and why we think it's important that this album be reviewed. We're gonna start off by saying so basically the reason Flower Boy has noise around it is one. At this point, Tyler the Creator is at a point in his career where anytime he puts out an album, it is kind of an event. Like it's oh shit, a new Tyler the Creator album just came out. Like Tyler the Creator has a pretty broad fan base and has a pretty well known name. So whenever he puts out an album, it's like, oh hell yeah, let's listen to that new Tyler the Creator album. On top of that, Tyler the Creator made a shocking statement with this album. He came out as gay.
Surprise!
Well, was it necessarily gay, or did he come out as like bisexual?
Probably bisexual. I'm just judging by like some of his older songs, like just on Cherry Bomb, he had that song "Fucking Young," which was pretty clearly about a girl. Yeah,
and I mean, like, he also had on this album itself, he talked about like women and keeping his bed warm and shit like that. Like, shout out to all the women that kept my bed warm and giving me head and shit like that. Like, so I think it's bisexual. I don't know.
If you think about it, how many members of Odd Future were there originally? Like 9, 8, 7?
What?
Around that number.
I have no idea.
And 2 of them are gay.
Well, technically 3 if you count Sid.
Oh yes, well,
but
Sid
she was
gay.
out from the beginning.
So we're living in a generation, in an era where just a lot more people are gay, and it's just what it is.
Well, I think it's more comfort of coming out as gay, you know. I think,
that's what I mean.
Yeah, I think
yeah,
just in hip hop, it's definitely changed a lot, make them more accepting.
Is there more? Are there really that many gay artists in hip hop? Because I know
the guy from Brockhampton, Kevin Abstract, as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's kind of new on the scene. I'm talking about like old kind of luminaries in a way.
I mean, there's probably some old heads that's gay. But during their time, it wasn't like acceptable to come out. Like, if you were gay, it was like, the thing about gay is it's perceived as soft, and if you perceive that soft, it's like you cannot exist within hip hop.
Yeah, I mean, especially in the hip hop community where it's like where hip hop definitely, it's not that it's necessarily frowned against the gay community or anything. Well, sometimes it has, but it's just one of those things where like in the era, like especially older era of music where there's a lot of gangster rap music, stuff like that. It's like there's a lot. If you came out as gay, as you've seen, even if you weren't soft, if you came out as gay, you were perceived as soft.
Right, and like that was like the diss. Like if you were gay, not even if you was gay, like it was a diss to call somebody gay. Like if we were going against each other in a rap battle or something, I called you gay, that'd be one of the better diss. I was looked as a good diss. Like, oh, he's calling him gay, that means he likes dick. Like that was the thing. Like calling somebody gay was like a good diss.
Yeah, that was like all Eminem's old like ICP disses. All of it was just focused on calling them gay.
Yeah, like they made a song back at him called Slim Anus, and like
I remember that.
Yeah, I mean even conscious artists like Common, even he had like a whole like verse on his album like Water for Chocolate where he's like them hickeys don't let me find out he did it. Like he's talking about like he's like don't let me find out you're gay or I'll beat your ass. Like even that's Common.
Hey man, Lil B changed the game with that album.
Hey,
because he was the first one. He made an album called "I'm Gay" like years ago.
Yeah, I'm gay, I'm happy, but Lil B came out as I'm gay.
Ironically, Lil B's not gay.
Yeah, and I think that was the thing with like the Tyler Creator, because when he came out as I'm gay, like it was like, well, we know you like to fuck around a lot, like Lil B does, so we never knew, like, is he really gay or is he just playing with us?
Yeah, plus, like, when when he won a Grammy for Goblin, it was like real controversial because of how much like homophobic slurs he used in that album.
You know how funny, right, dude? Do you know how funny that is that he's gay? Like, he used to call everybody fags, and like his best friend was like Frank Ocean, like, like, dude.
Yeah, I mean, shit, I completely forgot what I was gonna say. Like, yeah, like he won that Grammy. I forgot what I was gonna say. Fuck it, y'all go.
I mean, I've nothing.
Yeah, I had something to say. It was like, yeah, I can't remember now. Fuck it. Yeah, completely lost track of thought.
But I think also another reason why there's a lot of noise around this album is because it's Tyler the Creator's first like really well received album. Because his albums in the past haven't been the best received. I mean, Wolf kinda was, but outside of that, the rest of them weren't.
I heard. Yeah, I mean, I remember Goblin came out. I remember when Goblin came out, it was about Yonkers. It wasn't about Goblin. It was about Yonkers. And that's where he ate the cockroach.
Yeah. I remember that. The thing about this album is, I really enjoyed this album because it shows a lot of growth. I don't think he made one fag reference at all. Like,
so I'll say like, yeah. I mean, how you're saying like, yeah, there's a lot of growth. Like, I mean, I feel like this album's kind of like a culmination of all his sounds put together. I feel like I hear I hear a lot of Wolf in this, a little bit of Bastard, a little bit of Goblin.
I'd say the album reminds me the most of his Bastard because if you look at the lyricism on this, it's very close to what Bastard was, where it's much more personal.
Yes.
Where like his other three albums were more about like publicity, and he was constantly making like social references and stuff on those. This one, not so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in this album, you definitely get like a more introspective Tyler. You don't get like the Goblin, angry, kind of psychopathic Eminem level Tyler. You get like a very introspective and very personal, depressed Tyler in a way.
I'm just gonna say Goblin is not aged very good at all.
Wasn't it like your favorite album at one point?
I liked it at first when it first came out. I listened to it like not too long ago. I was like, this is not very good.
And you know what that is? I was thinking about this on the way here. The thing about Goblin and all that stuff is like, it was made for us during that time. We were of age. We were in school, so we were like, kill people, burn shit, fuck school. And that was the thing. Like, that's how we felt, and we was with all that crazy shit. And then now that we're older, we look back on it, we're like, what the fuck was I listening to?
Yeah, I mean, I think we grew up with Tyler the Creator.
Yeah, exactly. The one thing is, like, I still think Bastard's, like, alright, though. Mm-hmm. But I think also because, like I said earlier, I think that's more of a personal album for him.
Oh, so, plus he had a song with Earl Sweatshirt on there.
Ass Milk.
Oh, my gosh.
Holy shit, Ass Milk was good, guys.
Oh, my gosh, dude.
Yeah.
Was Ass Milk the one where they were trading verses like every 4 bars?
Yeah.
Yes, dude. It was fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Ass Milk's one of the best like lyrical tracks I think I've ever heard.
That's why when Earl left, he went to like Samoa or some shit where he disappeared. Mm-hmm. The government took him and made a clone of him. I'm playing, yeah.
yes, you're right. Yes.
There's gonna be some listener listen to this like, oh shit, did they really do that? No, but when that happened, tracks like Ass Milk and tracks like Earl were the reason that we missed Earl, because it was like it was a fucking lyrical monster eating shit at such a young age.
He was like 16 when he dropped Earl, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, he was recording. I think he was 15 recording it too.
Jeez.
Yes.
So he was like really young, and that's just like insane coming from him.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I'm talking like I'm about to be 23 in January, and I'm still not close to that vocabulary he was using at 15.
Yeah. Earl was fucking phenomenal.
I just can't wait for that new Earl album.
It's coming out sometime.
Eventually.
One day.
Like 4 years from now.
I
mean, but his verse on Really Doe last year, that was probably my favorite verse of last year.
Yeah.
That was good.
So I think we should start off this review by stating what kind of what our history with Tyler the Creator is. Like, how much do we know of his discography? How much we listen to him? How familiar are we with his sound and his music? I personally have, every time Tyler put out an album, I've kind of dropped in on it, listened to it, definitely. Never really been, never really went in deep with it. I've listened to Bassett a few times, Goblin a few times, Wolf a few times. I didn't really listen to Cherry Bomb. But I've touched on his music, but never really been too deep into it. But I've always enjoyed Tyler the Creator. I've always enjoyed what he's put out. You know, that's my experience with Tyler the Creator.
when Tyler the Creator came out with that Yonkers,
Yeah, you showed me
instantly,
Tyler.
yeah, instantly became a fan. I don't know. I just like the music, and everything. But over the years, I stopped listening to him as much. I mean, I did listen to Tyler heavy for a minute, but over the years, I stopped listening to some of his music. I might listen to an album once or so, but that was really it. I mean, some of the music I wasn't the biggest fan of, like Cherry Bomb, like stuff like that. I wasn't really a fan of it, but when I heard this album, oh shit,
You like Flower Boy?
dude, it's one of my favorite albums of the year. Like,
All right.
real shit.
So what kind of experience do you have, Scott?
All right, so early on, I was big into like Bastard, and I was big into Goblin when it first came out. Like I said, I'm not such a big fan of Goblin anymore. I just don't think it's aged very well. Bastard's still alright though. And then Wolf, I thought I wasn't as big into that one, but at first, but like I mean, I still liked it a lot. Cherry Bomb, I was like kind of weird on it first, but I think it's grown on me a lot more. And I actually kind of like the album. I think mostly just kind of like weird experimental shit normally, so it appealed a little more to me than I think most people. But yeah, I really like this album a lot. It's probably a top 10 album this year.
I'll say.
Can I say one more? Yeah,
that?
let me say one more thing.
Yeah,
Is,
go ahead.
I've always like valued Tyler a lot more as a producer than a rapper. As like I think he's a good rapper, but I think his real strengths are producing. The reason why I still like Bastard so much is because the production on that is just so like, I just think it's really good.
So for production on this album, I find it kind of. I think Tyler is a strong producer. For the production on this album, I think in a weird way it's not mastered very well. I feel like a lot of the times, like while I was listening to him on like my headphones or my speaker, like I had to turn on vocal boost on my car radio because he was Tyler, who has a very strong voice and a very strong personality. I found that very often I felt that he was drowned out by his own instrumentals. I felt like his instrumentals, when they were very loud and bombastic, he was drowned out. It was hard to understand what he was saying.
That's weird because I didn't get that at all.
Yeah, I didn't not
Like
experience
I hear him
that.
fine.
I had problems I'm trying to think of this. I think Who Dat Boy might have been the song. It's like when he starts rapping on like when it's like the bass drop, that part. Whenever he starts rapping on that, I had problems understanding. I had to look up some of the lyrics for some of the tracks on this. On some of the tracks on this album, I had to look up the lyrics. I couldn't understand what he was saying. And when I did look up the lyrics, I thought he was, once again, very strong lyricist. But I felt that there was a lot of problems hearing. I listened on 3 separate devices while I was listening to this. And so, I mean, it might have been my devices. I just don't know. For me, it was just hard for me to hear him. I was focusing intently on him.
I feel the exact opposite. I feel like it was mixed and mastered well. I feel like the production was fucking phenomenal. Like he's still, even from his Bastard days, has this sound. Like I remember from the intro track, I remember it fading out and it has like this eerie sound. Like Tyler the Creator, his signature sounds kind of like an eerie sound. I don't know how to describe it.
They're like kind of. It kind of sounds like Michael Myers.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he manages to mix that well on this album with like he mixes that with like a funky soulful instrumentals.
Yeah, I'll go and say that I think this album has incredible flow to it. I think as I said, like the mastering for me personally, just kind of like the voice and all that stuff. Maybe I wasn't a big fan of it, but I do recognize that how the instrumentals flowed into each other from track to track. Without looking at the track list, I actually couldn't tell when songs changed, even when massive instrumental changes came about, because they flowed in together so well that I couldn't tell the moment the song changed. That's how good the flow of the album was.
Yeah, I think for me, like the production, I think was really good. Like one thing I've noticed, and I think he actually mentioned this in an interview I came across a while ago, is that he doesn't actually rap on this as much as he did on previous albums. He does a lot more features, and I think that's really good though, because we don't get too much Tyler. I think because he does have such a strong personality that I think, like before, I think a lot of people's problem was that he just came through too much, and like his lyricism wasn't always perfect. And I think on this one, it's like he's more in concentrated doses with like a lot of features between. And a lot of like space where it's just like the instrumentals that really like I think it's just like a really good balance of everything.
Continue. You go ahead.
Okay. 2 things. his lyricism has greatly improved, and I realized that from the fucking intro track. Like,
Oh, that was his intro track was awesome.
like dude snapped, and then, his features, every feature was well fucking placed and well used. Like, not one feature goes to use. You know how you hear a rap song, you hear someone do a feature, you're like, anyone could have did a feature on that. I could have did that shit.
Yeah, it's just like phoned in.
Yeah, like, why were they
like
there?
fill up space, basically.
Yeah, on this album, every feature had its use, and it was used perfectly, from ASAP, Estelle, to even fucking Jaden Smith.
Dude,
Yeah.
that Jaden Smith feature, I cannot believe that's him.
Dude,
Yeah,
I said the
I didn't
same
even
thing.
know.
I listened to it because at first I was just listening to it. I'm like, who is this? I mean, it sounded just cool. You know how that's like a cool rap?
Yeah.
He just sounded really cool. So I'm like, oh shit, let me go to Rap Genius. Who the fuck is this? And then seeing Jaden Smith, I was like, no fucking way. Out of everybody, of course, Tyler Creator has a Jaden Smith feature.
Yeah. Yeah, do you guys remember like Jaden Smith like 4 or 5 years ago? He released like a song or two, and they were like not good at all.
No, but I heard some other shit about him this year, and he can fucking rap his ass off.
Yeah, he's gotten a lot better.
So, I'll say for two things. One, the about the less concentration of Tyler. I feel like that is both a good and a bad thing. How, Scott, you were saying that you get smaller doses of Tyler in this album, and I think that you're right, where it's like that does work in his favor. But I do think that at some points it works to his detriment, where like I don't like the song Garden Shed, because I feel like Tyler was good rapping in that song, but I feel like it was like 2 minutes to get to the rapping part.
It's like I like that about it because it's kind of like a build up, and you get to like enjoy the instrumental as it kind of builds up to his portion of it.
I think the part for me was I wasn't a huge fan of the instrumental itself. I think Garden Shed's the one where he came out as gay, right?
I mean, he does on a couple tracks reference it at least.
Yeah, he does. It was like a concentrated verse of it where he's referencing that he's in the garden shed, hiding in the garden shed, planting flowers, shit like that. Basically saying like he's like scared to come out. But I think that's like where it was concentrated at, and I think that was track 7. He references track 7 because of that. I don't even know what track it was, but for me, like there is less Tyler in tracks like The final track of this album, I did not like at all because it was just a random instrumental.
Yeah.
And the instrumental to me sounded like the most aggressive intermission music ever, or like the most like aggressive like elevator music to ever exist.
Yeah, if I can say 2 like things I took away from this that I didn't really like was like I don't like how the first song starts out. I think it needed a little more build up to it. Kind of just drops in, which is more like that's kind of nitpicky. Like I know it doesn't really matter that much. I just think it starts in kind of a weird way. And the last track on it, I don't really like the closing track very much. I mean, it's kind of just okay. I think it would have been better if he had like an actual verse on it, though.
Yeah, I think for me, I think the middle of this album is incredible. I think the middle of this album is a really powerful middle album. I think the beginning of this album, like the first act of this album, is really strong. I think for me, the first act of the album ends at Who Dat Boy, and I think the first part of this album is really strong. I think Forward starts off really well. I think it goes off really well. In the middle of this album has boredom and it has stuff like that. I think all that stuff's really good. I'll say that I did not like the end of this album at all. I didn't. I was gonna say for me, I didn't like. I thought Lil Wayne put his best verse out in years.
That's exactly what I was about to bring up.
But I also didn't think that it was a strong verse by Lil Wayne. I think because I think it was good. I just don't think. I think I've heard better from Lil Wayne. I'm not even a big Lil Wayne fan. And I didn't like. I thought Lil Wayne did pretty good. I just don't think it was his best verse.
So like I'm not a very big Lil Wayne fan personally, but like I actually liked what he did there because he had so many like references to like the album itself, which I really liked. It was kind of like an outsider point on this album. Yeah, I'd say like the last 2 tracks I think is where it kind of fell off a little bit because Glitter was just kind of okay as well.
Yeah, I didn't like Glitter at all.
I mean, I'd rather have ended with Glitter rather than Enjoy It Right Now Today, but like. Even then, I think Glitter was probably the weakest track on this outside of the final song.
Yeah, I can see that. I think November was good. I think November just... I like November. I just didn't like it was like there was a weird... That little middle point of where he has people saying...
I love that because it's like you get all the people like adding their input into it. Kind of like the theme of the track.
if he had moved that part to the end of the album, not the end of the album, the end of the track, I think it would have played better. I think it broke up the flow of the song for me. Oh, because it feels like it ends and then he comes back with another verse, and I'm like, I would have liked it if he had that where it actually ended at that point. I think that was a really, as you said, I think the people talking are fine. I think that's really cool actually. And I think that the instrumental played itself out really well right there. And then he kind of ruins the end of the song by dropping it and making another end of the song.
Yeah, it's like that doesn't bother me much, but I can see what you're saying. If you had like moved that to the end and have that actually be the last track on the album, that would have been a cool like ending.
I thought that for me the last part of the album starts at Dropping Seeds and moves on. I think the last part of this album isn't my favorite part of the album by any means.
Dropping Seeds.
Okay.
Dude, imagine my surprise. I'm over here laying down, looking at my ceiling. I hear a beautiful instrumental come on. I hear Moolah. Dude, I got fucking wet. I said, oh shit. I said, did this man get Mr. Carter on his album? I hear Lil Wayne start rapping. And instantly, I was just, I admit, Lil Wayne's my favorite rapper. So that might be a slight bias, but when I heard it, I didn't find nothing wrong with his verse. Like I heard it and I was like, did he get this fucking feature on 08? Like that sounded like prime Wheezy. That sounded like a prime Wayne. I'm like, oh shit.
As I said, I think. Yeah, go ahead, Scott.
So the other thing about that is also the track is only like a minute long, which I think works to its benefit as well. Because if that had been like a 3-minute track, I don't know if it would have gone over as well.
Yeah, I mean, when I said I don't like Dropping Seeds, I mean
More of like an interlude.
Yeah, it really is just an interlude. Like when I say I don't like Dropping Seeds, that's a very small gripe, and that's not even to say I don't. That's not even to say I hate the track. I think it's a good track. I think because I mean like. Once again, not a big fan of Lil Wayne, and Lil Wayne's also completely fucking disappeared over the past couple of years. Last time I even heard Lil Wayne was Drake's "If You're Reading This Is Too Late," and he was garbage.
Well, he put out that one mixtape.
He did?
Yeah, Sorry for the Wait. I don't know. It was either last year or the year before. Because it was that whole thing with like Birdman wouldn't let him put it out or something because he wanted to highlight Young Thug.
Yeah. That's terrible. Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard anything from Lil Wayne for the past while, and like when I have heard anything from Lil Wayne, it's been middling. Because I think Lil Wayne, even if he's not my favorite rapper, I think he's a good guest verse generally. And I think like even when he's been on guest verses from tracks I've kind of stumbled across him by accident, I think that it's been good, not like good to like pretty sad. And I think this one is where he did come back in a pretty strong motion. As I think it's a good verse, probably his best verse in years to me. But that's not saying much for me when I've never really had a favorite verse from Lil Wayne, you know. So I mean, I think that at that point for Dropping Seeds, it's just a matter of personal taste when it comes down to that, because he just never really settled with me.
Even with me, that's probably as a student of Wayne, I think that's like my favorite verse he's did, with at least feature he did in like the last, I would say 2 or 3 years. Like I really, really, really enjoyed that feature. And once again, all of Tyler's features are well placed. Well fucking placed.
Yeah, a lot of like really good features too.
I feel like he had a lot of good Frank Ocean on here too. Jaden Smith, Frank Ocean,
ASAP Rocky.
ASAP Rocky was good.
And Estelle. I'm a fan of Estelle, and she never gets her credit, but I love Estelle. Estelle, if you ever hear this one day, do a song with me, please. Thank you.
I'll say that for me, I felt for the overall of this album, the feel of this album, the vibe I get from this album, I feel like it's a very, not really very, but I feel like it is MF Doom influenced, where it's like I feel like the album is. I think monotonous is a harsh word. I won't say monotonous, but I think it's a very gray sounding album to me. I think like it's an album that's kind of what MF Doom usually does, which is usually the beats are kind of like neutral. I think that this album has like neutral to it. And I don't think it's a bad thing at all.
I'm not totally sure what you're saying.
It's like I hear
I'm confused.
I hear MF Doom production in this album essentially.
Yeah, MF Doom. Like when I think of at least Matt Villainy, he kind of has like that kind of, I don't want to say off-putting production, but once again, it's like some eerie type stuff. It's different.
Yeah.
That's all I want to say.
It's like if I had to assign a color to it, because that's kind of how I find when I hear instrumentals, sometimes I can assign colors to them. If I had to assign a color to MF Doom or Tyler, this album especially, I feel gray. I feel like a gray sound to it.
I feel like yellow and green, but maybe again because that's the cover.
Mm-hmm.
And when I think of it, I think of like, even though he talks about depression a lot, I feel like the instrumentals are so fucking beautiful, dude.
Yeah, they're very colorful, I think.
Yeah.
Like, they have a lot of, like, just stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
And a really good look to them. Also, I should say, I think MF Doom is actually supposed to be a really big influence on Tyler. Not as much as Earl, but...
No. Earl is basically MF Doom, the younger version.
But, yeah, I think he was a really big influence on him. And so was Lil Wayne as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll say that. Yeah, like I'll say that this. I think production wise, this album is good, and I think MF Doom was definitely. I think he and Earl have both said that they've been influenced by MF Doom. I think that was pretty good. You know, I think this album's pretty alright.
Yeah, I like it. You guys want to do like a quick track by track, just kind of run through them real quick? We're at 25 minutes. We could probably go through real fast.
Yeah, we can do a little quick breakdown of it. Let me pull up my phone so I can look at the track specifically. Yeah, we can do a little quick breakdown. Just kind of throw a few words on everything.
On track 2, Where This Flower Blooms.
Mm-hmm.
He had a line in there. He's talking about black boys do whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
He said something about dyeing his hair blue, some shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny. It's funny because he named his album Flower Boy.
Uh-huh.
It was kind of like I was saying earlier, like in hip hop you can't be soft. So he kind of has that little B thing where it's like he named the album "My Gay." He named it Flower Boy. Like,
yeah, that's pretty much.
Dude, can you imagine a rapper coming out in the '90s naming his album Flower Boy? They're like, dude, we're gonna rob him and beat him up. And then
I think
it's stuff like this that we're gonna come back years later. I feel like they'll be like, okay, you know how we like look at Lil B now? It's like that I'm gay stuff. Or like that was progressive. I feel like we'll look at stuff like this and be like, that was progressive.
Yeah, I think this album might actually be important at some point.
I mean, it's kind of important now, but
yeah,
like,
true.
Like, yeah, I think just generally like the acceptance of like or just like the idea of like what's accepted in like rap music has definitely changed. If you look at a lot of like the newer rappers like Lil Yachty and like Lil Uzi Vert, they all have like their hair, all dyed and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And in the '90s, they'd probably get the shit kicked out of them for that.
Yeah, like Young Thug was wearing like dresses and shit.
Yeah, Young Thug wears dresses.
Married to the game.
Dude, we live in a different era now, dude. I swear to gosh, we do. Like, dude, like, dude, imagine that guy that married to the game, dude. Imagine him in the '90s, dude. Like, but it's like, it's crazy because you might be like, you don't want to just call this guy a punk. I mean, he has like an M16 in his video. Like, he might really kill you, like something like that. So it's just, I don't know. We're at the stage now where like, you can be gay and gangster at the same time. Like, you don't want to just disrespect a gay dude, and he's gangster especially. It's like he might really kill you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I think at this point it's like it was probably always like that. It's just now we're accepting that. Now we're acknowledging that.
No, yeah, but they wasn't. Yeah, but they wasn't like out with it.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's like we're probably now that people are coming out and it's like you're showing. It's like people are seeing that diversity, stuff like that.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I always, even since I was like 3, I seen tough gay dudes.
Yeah.
Like dudes that will beat your ass. Don't say anything about them being gay. Don't do that. But yeah, it's just much more out now. Like it's just out. It's out there.
You being gay does not now it doesn't mean that you have to be feminine too. It's not like all that dude's gay. He probably plays Barbies or some shit. It's like now that it's like people are actually being gay isn't just defined by itself. People can be people without just having that descriptor on them.
Yeah, but the only gay people I've seen that doesn't seem feminine, honestly, would be like a Tyler the Creator and like a Frank. Like they don't seem feminine to me. Like other people.
I've seen both.
Yeah, but they're also showing that like that's not the exact like they don't always fit to like the stereotype.
Yeah,
because like you probably see
Oh.
you probably see people every day there
Yeah.
and just have no idea because they don't look exactly how
Yeah.
everyone thinks of it.
That's another thing I had. I had highlighted living in a box. Like I said, this is progressive, and he's outside the box, and we're moving outside of this box. This box of stereotypes and thinking we know everything just based off what we can visually see and not what we can feel and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think this album is really intelligent in the way that it portrays that stuff. So do you want to do? So do we want to do the track by track real quick? Or do you want-
Yeah. Let's just go through and just give like an opinion on each track. Doesn't have to be anything long. And
Okay.
just for the next 10, 15 minutes or so at the most.
I'll start off with saying Forward is awesome. I think Forward came out. I think this album started off kicking ass.
Yeah, I think it's a strong opening track. Like I said, my only real problem is that it starts kind of awkwardly. But outside of that, I thought the beat was good. There was no features on this, was there?
It says Rex Orange County. I think that was the singer. If I'm falling there, yeah.
Yeah, sure, it was good.
I like the track. I mean, once again, Tyler snapped, and the outro led to the next track so fucking perfect.
Where the flower booms.
Yes.
Okay, so where this flower blooms, I think starts off kind of awkwardly. I think it kind of starts off with like an awkward flow, and I think it just kicks off at some point. It's like in the middle part, or whatever. I think it just kicks off, stun on them, and it just
That was a good feature from Frank.
yes.
There's always good features, so.
Yeah, I mean when Frank's on you can tell when Frank's on the track. 'Cause I get like a blonde feeling when Frank's on the track.
You can never have enough Frank.
It's true. Sometimes it's just an interlude. We don't really need to speak about sometimes because it's just.
I thought it was interesting though how he did it though, because he actually references like one of the tracks I think.
He does.
Because he goes like play that song about me. and
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Okay,
So
yeah.
it kind of like references to the next song is like about him, not just like him playing a character or something like people would speculate.
Yeah, real quick. Is this part of the chronology of Tyler's stories?
No, that ended after Wolf.
Okay.
It was unfinished technically because Cherry Bomb was different as well.
Okay. We might come back to it. See You Again. Is that the one that's like 2020 bit? Okay.
I think so.
That has a bitch in it.
Is that the one that
good.
started like okay?
Yeah, I think so. Okay.
Yeah, it did.
I remember, dude. Once again, it's like you were saying earlier, how the album was very well.
Led into it.
Yeah, cause I remember I first heard that, and I'm like, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? I'm like, that's that random shit. And then like later on in the song, you hear him. He starts rapping. He's like, okay. I was like, okay, I get it now. I was like, that is genius how he did that. I like that.
Yeah, I think for my money, See You Again is probably one of my top 4 on this album. I think, Can I Get a Kiss? That part right there.
Dude, the song is so beautiful.
That got stuck in my head for fucking ever. I thought the hook on this was awesome.
So Who Dat Boy?
Who Dat Boy?
So, I think that was a perfect idea to put this out as the first single because it's so much like it's like his older stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's like a progression of it. It's not exactly the same. It's not like
Yes.
really cringy like Goblin was. It's like actually dark and gritty and like really good. Plus the ASAP Rocky version that was really cool too.
Dude, ASAP came through like that cool dude from Harlem. Like, he just came in with a cool, smooth flow, and then the beat dropped, and he fucking did his fast flow, and he snapped, and it was just that with the instrumental.
Yeah, this for me is like where the middle of the album does start, like Who Dat Boy and all that stuff. I think Who Dat Boy is awesome. I think it's one of my favorite tracks too.
Also the video for it is fantastic.
I think we saw a little bit of that video. I think I saw.
I did not know there was a video for it. I'm going to have to check that out.
Yeah, it's good.
So we move on to Pothole. Pothole's
Pothole
pretty
is
good.
one of my favorite tracks for sure. That's the Jaden Smith feature.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a really smooth track. It's really good. It gives me kind of a Bastard feeling. Like it kind of makes me feel like kind of just gives off that vibe that he was doing on that album as well, which is something I really liked about it.
Mm-hmm.
Or even like Wolf as well. Like these 3 albums I think fit together really well
Yeah.
because they all have kind of a similar vibe.
Yeah, I mean, I think Pothole's really good. I think I think what he's talking about here is kind of like referencing, like not specifically, but obviously I think this sets a vibe for like what the whole album's kind of about, where it's like as Tyler's gotten more and more famous, Tyler's gotten more and more alone. Odd Future's kind of disassembled at this point. He's lost a lot of his friends, stuff like that. People he used to hang out with are probably gone now, and he talks about a lot about that on Pothole. like snakes in the grass and stuff like that. And his mom saying trust the elder white man and trust her, but trust no one else, stuff like that. I think this is kind of like he talks a lot about being alone a lot in this album, like 911, Mr. Lonely, and Boredom. I think Pothole is kind of where he starts talking about that stuff. And I think this is a good track. I think it's a good vision into Tyler's mentality at this point.
It's definitely a theme that you don't realize at first is the loneliness on this album that he talks a lot about. Because I didn't actually think about that when I was first listening to it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's like a weird, like not like a weird, but like this is like that's like a big theme of this album. It's his loneliness and how he's gotten bigger and how he's gotten more and more alone and stuff like that. And I think like this whole album kind of it's about Tyler being in an awkward space in his life where he's got all the things he wants except for the things that he needs, you know? Yeah. And I think for this whole album, I think he does a really good job at saying that. Yeah, any thoughts on Pothole?
Jaden Smith, once again, features well placed. Jaden Smith. Tyler made perfect use of Jaden Smith.
Surprisingly good use of Jaden Smith.
And once again, you start talking about depression, which led perfectly to the next track. I think is that right on the Mr. Lonely 911.
No, it's Garden Shed is next.
Garden Shed is next.
Yeah, this is
I did not like the hook on Garden Shed.
Garden Shed. That shit.
Yeah, I was not feeling that.
Wait, what was the hook on that one?
It was it's like how he starts the track, how he starts his verse off like Garden Shed.
So I liked that personally.
I thought it was like a weird.
It's just subjective.
Yeah, I think it's. I thought it was like a weird starting point for the verse. I think the verse itself was fine. I think it was a weird like, out of nowhere, Garden like that. I thought that was kind of weird. But you know, as I said, my thoughts. I feel like Garden Shed takes a little too long to start. But I think this is a track that he comes out on, or like he as you say makes references. But I think this is where he kind of concentrates. Like, no questions about it, guys. I'm actually gay. I think the point. I think he conveys that point pretty well. I think the track itself is kind of, it's alright.
Yeah, so I disagree. I think this is probably one of my favorites on the album. I like that I like that it has such a build up to it. I like that you get a lot of like the instrumental at the beginning. It's almost like some background music before he comes in.
Yeah.
I just happen to like that a lot because I really like the instrumental on this one.
Yeah.
It's very minimalist for a lot of it as well, which I thought was really cool.
Valid. Did you already put your thoughts on Garden Shed?
Did not like the hook.
Okay.
Wait.
Boredom.
I just didn't like the Garden Shed.
Yeah.
Estelle is perfect.
All right. Boredom.
I think Boredom is one of my other favorites on this. It's also really cool just to see how different it is from like, all the stuff he's rapped out in the past, and now he's just making a song about being bored.
Yeah. Boredom's one of my favorite tracks too. I think. I think this is a pretty good track. This is really good. I think it's either this or the next track that are my favorites of this album.
I ain't got time.
Anything on Boredom?
Very good track. That's really it.
Yeah. All right, next. I ain't got time. I've been saying that for the past 2 fucking weeks. Since we started reviewing this album.
So I ain't got time. That and 911, which are kind of next to each other, is like the evolution of Cherry Bomb to me. Because I ain't got time was like pretty much like the just more out of control, wilder stuff that he was doing on that, but like much better made. It seems like the better, like kind of the progression of that, and then you fall into 911, which kind of gets the other half of that album where it was the smoother, jazzier stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't really mean to talk about those together.
No, that's
I just think they fit together really well.
No, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I think you're right. I think 911 Mr. Lonely also is very. I think I like 911 first because it's like a split track or whatever. I think 911 the first part of it is really good. I think Mr. Lonely starts off kind of weird and then it starts going really well again. I like 911 Mr. Lonely. Yeah, those are pretty good. You got any thoughts on those?
I do not.
I like the
very good track.
I like Ain't Got Time a lot.
Wasn't Frank on 911?
Yeah, he was on 911.
Yeah, he was really good there too.
So the track after 911, Mr. Lonely.
Dropping Seeds. We kind of already talked about that in depth. So unless anyone has anything else major to say about it.
Yeah, I don't have anything. That's a Lil Wayne one.
Nope.
All right, November. No, yeah, November.
Okay, November is my favorite song on this album. I really enjoy it.
I
I
disagree
love
on
the
that one.
production on that one. I think it's just about perfect.
Mhm.
It really gives that kind of like Tyler, like that older Tyler feel. That's very much just like kind of somber and
Mhm.
kind of a little more like, I don't want to say depressing, but it just got that feel to it. I can't really put it into words. It's a very melancholic track to me.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that, and I think November. I like the fact that November is he chose a month that's very important to him, and basically played
Yeah,
a very nostalgic track, and basically spoke on nostalgia and take me back to that time of the good times. I do like I like the theme of this track. I like the vocals of this track. I think that really my biggest problem with this track is the pacing of it, which is where I feel like if he had taken that middle part and just moved to the end of it, I think this track would be fucking amazing. But for my money, I think if he hadn't split it in half like that, I think it would have been a lot better.
all right. It really doesn't bother me much that it's that way. I'm actually fine with it. But
Yeah. I think for me, it's just a matter of I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why the flow bothered me. I think it just did bother me. I don't know
let's
what it
just say
was.
also you mentioned the theme. I thought the theme of this song was really good, especially noting that November is just kind of the buzzword that he just picked for whatever reason.
Mhm.
But like it could be anything, a person, a place, a thing, just a time in your life
Yeah.
that you kind of wish you could go back to.
Yeah.
I think pretty much everyone has something like that.
Yeah, like some guy was like back on like 49th Street. Every day was November. Like every day was the best day of my life back then. You got anything on November?
I realized on that track he talked about cars a lot. Besides that, that's really it. But once again,
Just
well,
cars a
he's
lot.
he's he's self-aware because he said somewhere on the album I talk about cars a lot. But
Yeah.
he said in a depressing way, like those are my friends and they're always here for me. So I'm like, well, I understand why you talk about cars a lot.
Your Bugatti's depressing. All right, and the next one is Glitter.
I don't remember Glitter.
I don't like Glitter.
Like I don't like. I remember it being an okay track, but it always just kind of seemed like a Tyler track to me.
No.
Like just a basic Tyler track. It didn't stick out to me as much as all the others on this album.
Now that you mentioned that, I can't remember how the hook goes, even though I remember I hated the hook. I just didn't like Glitter. Glitter just like, out of all these tracks, I liked, I have ups and downs throughout this whole album, but I think the song Glitter was like the one song where I was kind of like, god damn it.
Yeah, it seemed like a filler track to me. I mean, I remember thinking it was okay. Like I liked the track. It didn't really stick out to me as much. Like I said, I don't remember what it was about.
Same. Like, I really, like,
I'm
everything is escaping me about Glitter, except I have a weird dislike for it.
I like the name. It reminds me of his stuff like Parade, shit, which was a really good track.
Yeah.
Like the name just reminds me of it.
Yeah. When I first saw the track Glitter before I even listened to his album, I thought that was the one where he came out as gay. I was like, oh.
That would make sense. He maybe talked about it on there. I don't know.
I cannot remember Glitter to save my fucking life right now. Anything on Glitter?
Honestly, that I can't remember that track. So shit.
Like I kind of need to go listen to Glitter now. You want to just play it real fast and see if we can remember? I can just
play it out loud. Just play.
let me just pause this real fast. Or okay, now I remember it.
Hold on. Oh yeah, I remember this shit.
Oh, dude, I love this
I
track.
hate
Okay.
this track.
Yeah, I was out, which is okay. I really like the bells that he used to open it up. Like I said, it reminds me of Parade and Glorious because he had kind of a similar thing to open those tracks.
Yeah.
I think Inglorious is the one I'm thinking of actually.
Yeah. I didn't like the track at all. Really. I just no, not feeling that. Feeling like glitter. No, I don't like
Oh, now I'm remembering. Yeah, this isn't a bad track at all.
that. I hated this.
Dude,
track.
I love this.
Yeah,
shit.
I like the
This
hook
shit.
on it. The feeling like glitter. Yeah.
No, I feel like the voice that said "I'm feeling like glitter." It just seems like just super.
I'm all right
weird.
with it.
I didn't like it. I don't know.
I think you
There's
said every track is weird on this album. You're like, it's just weird. Like, we're talking about Tyler the Creator.
I don't know. There are a few tracks. Like when it comes to music, there's very few things I don't like without reason, or like when it comes to like reviewing things in general. And I just there's something that doesn't sit right with me on Glitter. I don't know what it is. I just don't like Glitter that much. And so we'll move on to the next one. The next track is
Enjoy Right Now Today.
Enjoy Right Now Today, which we.
So, yeah, my take on this, I thought it was a decent instrumental. I just don't think it was a great closing track. I think it would have been better if he'd had this one and then Glitter or something like that. Because it's just a weird thing to end on. Also, I really don't like the baby sample, and that it creeps me out.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like the instrumental that much. I think it's kind of like. As I said, it kind of sounds like the most aggressive like elevator music ever, or the most like aggressive intermission music ever. It's just not that really. It's really just not that interesting. Like when I first heard it, I was listening to it while I was doing something else, and I was like, wow, it's taking really long to get to the rapping part of this, and then it just ended, and then I was like, well, I wonder what the next track is, and then there was nothing, and I was like, what the fuck just happened? I think my phone just broke. Oh wait, no, that was the end of the fucking album. Wasn't a big fan of that.
With me, that was probably my only two critiques. Well, really, my only critique, honestly, about this album is probably the outro. I didn't like that track, and I know I didn't like it because I was over here thinking like, damn, when is this song gonna end? Like, how long is this album? And then all of a sudden, it was over. And I'm like, oh
shit.
Thank God. Well, because I didn't think about that the whole way through the album. Like, man, I can't wait for this to end. Like, because I was genuinely enjoying the fucking album. I'm like, this is a beautiful, very, very well thought out, produced album. And then when it just got to that track, it was just, I just didn't like it. I was like, dude, when the fuck is this gonna be over?
All right, we're gonna move on to closing thoughts, our review, our personal review numbers, and explanations as to why we gave those numbers. So, Tyler, do you want to start off with it?
I give it honestly a 9 out of 10. Like, I really like the album. His lyricism was on point. It very much improved. The features were on point. The production was really fucking on point. I'm amazed how he managed to have topics such as depression and stuff with that funky soulful type feel. You know how like Blue raps and he had like, I mean he had like Below the Heavens.
Yeah.
How he's like introspective and he's over that very good production. It's like that, but it's like a different type of sound. Well, maybe not as introspective, but it's still introspective and it's over beautiful beats. And like I said, dude, the whole album was really on point. I just didn't like the outro track. So for that, I'll give it a 9 out of 10. Like, it's definitely gonna be on repeat.
All right.
Definitely one of my favorite albums of this year.
All right, cool. Do you want me to go next?
I'll do it last.
All right. For me, I think for me, I'd give the numbers between 7.5 to 8. I think I'd lean probably more towards 8, honestly. For me, I think the biggest problem is I don't like. For me, the end of the album, just the last kind of 3-4 tracks weren't big. And if I break down like how many tracks are on the album, it's like 14 tracks, but there's like, and sometimes it's an interlude track, so that's, let's say 13. I don't like 4 of the tracks. I basically dislike a third of this album. I think like for me, I think the flow of the album is really good. I think the lyricism is really strong. I think I do like the production of it a fair amount, but I think for me as I said, I feel like the mastering is a little weird, but I think the production is good. I think the beats are good, so on and so forth. I think there's a few hiccups here and there on my part. I think towards the end of my listening experience, I did listen to this album a fair amount to review it. When I first started listening to it, I really didn't like it that much at all. And as I did listen to it, I really did start to warm up on it. Really did start liking it. It's just that I think it took, for me personally, I think it took too long for me to start really actually enjoying this album. I think probably 7.5 to 8 for me. Probably more of an 8. But I don't know if I'd call it my favorite album of the year.
All right, so I'm gonna give the album a 9 out of 10. On my review I did a few months ago, I gave it a 90 out of 100, which was actually a built-up score. I don't really want to explain how I did scores on there, but like, I agree with most of what Tyler said. I think it's a very good, like very well-produced album. I think Tyler's really reached like kind of just the progression of everything that he's worked towards. I feel like parts of like really influences from each one of his older albums on this, and especially his first album, Bastard. Well, first mixtape, really. I think there's a lot of callbacks to that one. I like that. It's a much more like personal album than the last few that he's done. The production's very good. The lyricism is good. like I said earlier, I like that he kind of spaced himself out a lot more than he typically does, which gave it allows for like a lot more room to breathe, a lot more room to like enjoy the instrumentals as well as the features. The features were very well placed, and overall, the only song I didn't like on it was the very last one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and outside of that, I thought every other track on here was either good or great.
Mm-hmm.
So overall, I think it's currently ranked my third album for this year, my third favorite. But yeah, overall, I think it was just a really good album. I think it's the natural progression of his style, and hopefully the next album, I hope will be as good as this one, and he doesn't fall off.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's about final thoughts.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that. I think there is a good. I think progression. There's definitely good progression for it.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think if you say want to listen to Tyler's albums from start to last, I think this is a good culmination of everything he's done so far, and I applaud him for that. All right, we're gonna wrap this up. That's been the What's the Noise review cast. The noise around this album is pretty damn good. Yeah. So if you have the chance, you should probably give it a shot. Thanks for listening.
Goodbye.
For being here for our first review ever.
Goodbye. Please check out our podcasts. We do one every week. And yeah.
Call me sometime.